Welcome to Resilient Love Podcast.
Join hosts Quentin and Brianna as they discuss tips on love, life, and
business.
Let's get into this next episode.
Welcome to another episode of Resilient Love.
We are excited. You see, we got a special guest with us today. So, Miss Hoover, would you mind go ahead and jumping right in and sharing with our audience who you are and your business?
Yes. So my name is Cousett Hoover. And I am Techie Mamma. I'm also known as Techie Mamma all over the web. I kind of created that name for me because Cousett is a little hard to say, and everybody's like, Miss Hoover. So, but Techie Mamma also really explains me a lot because I grew up in tech. My dad was an IBMer. I was born in Silicon Valley. I say that I moved to Silicon Hills because now we're in the Austin area, and I moved there with my family when we were about 10. My dad got relocated to do a special project. So I grew up in tech and I loved it from day one. And I studied technology or computer science. And I also had a love of education all throughout. And so I went forward with my studies into educational technology. So looking at both the tech and the education. I taught at the university level. I love this. Pre-service teachers how to use technology in their classroom. And when I left my academic career and started my business, I took that with me. And so I now teach mompreneurs and other small business owners that want to join in how to use technology to automate, to kind of make things quicker, to build their website, to do all the things that they need to with their business. And
awesome.
So, yeah.
Yes, that's nice.
And as an educator, I'm just like, a dream. And I have a sister. She has her education technology degree already. She's going forward in her doctorate. And I mean, educational technology, that I should have went to school for that. I really should have, because I love technology. And you're a techie mom. So, and eventually I'll be a mom, but I'm techie.
Thank you, lady.
How did you get started? Like, what was the groundbreaking thing that really just pushed you to go in for it?
Yeah, so it kind of just came very organically. I started Techie Mamma as just a blog. I needed an outlet because I was used to being in academia. I was on my way to getting my PhD. So I was very much, in this mode of writing and reading and all this stuff. And then when your sidekick is a newborn baby who's just crying and pooping all day, I needed an outlet, some kind of just mental outlet. And so I started as a blog. It was very much just laid back. I didn't know anything about monetizing or SEO or anything, to any extent. I wasn't worried about that. I was just doing it for myself as a hobby blog. I looked at tech gadgets for babies because that was where I was at. So I did reviews on, there's a sock that measures how well the baby's breathing to kind of eliminate the anxiety that your baby will not breathe at night and stuff like that. There's all these different little tech gadgets, and more come out every day. So I started with reviewing that, and then it grew into, I started meeting other moms who were starting businesses or had businesses on Facebook. And I was like, well, I know how to create a website. I'll create a website for you. And started working with these moms. And and it just kind of continued to grow as I learned more. I tried to mentor others who were kind of a step before me, and create this community as well, because I think as moms who are also trying to build their business, I often compare your business as another child, because you're trying to
Yeah.
grow it, you're trying to nurture it, you're trying to, make sure it keeps it ongoing. And a lot of times, if you're in like a mom's group with other moms are like maybe just stay-at-home moms, or they're working moms, or it's just a different, um, just a whole different arena to be
Yeah.
growing your own business, And so I also am trying to create like a community of, mom friends that we can discuss everything from like potty training and what the latest marketing trend is, and stuff like that. So that's kind of where it's grown, is community and education.
Ooh,
Like it.
love it. So with that being said, you're a tech mom and you give us all this great information on the tech side. But how do you find the balance? Like, how did you find the self-care time? Let's just leave the kids and go out for a second. Like, where did you find that?
It's hard, especially in this time with the pandemic and everything. My oldest was in preschool, and I was taking my youngest to the Y for their little kind of Mother's Day out before the pandemic. And that was kind of my work time. And then I tried to be more present with the boys after school kind of thing. Nap times are just God's gift to moms. um, uh, My two unfortunately lost their nap time very early, but they sleep through the night, so that I am not complaining.
That's a winner.
Um, it's always a struggle. I believe balance is actually a bad word. I think there's more of a pendulum where sometimes a business will need more attention. And sometimes your family will need more attention. And you kind of try and work that pendulum to a place where you're not, you're still going back and forth, and you're not staying in one side for too long. When we take vacations, or when, the weekends are pretty much kind of all family time and stuff like that, I try and match kind of my hours of working kind of more or less with my husband's, even though I'm with the kids. I don't work in the evenings and stuff like that. So, or work later once they're asleep, but it's hard. It's, I think, a struggle to, find that perfect thing. And the best way I can do it is that pendulum, where sometimes, when the pandemic started, I was trying to homeschool, which I'm not good at.
Man, I can only imagine the techie mom is now the school mom all over again.
All the resources, but having the patience to teach a preschooler was not the same as teaching college students.
I know. And guess what? You should have called me, because I teach preschool. Well, I used to. Now I teach high school. So, but you can still call me. Oh,
So, as we go more in depth, how did the pandemic challenge your household?
For sure. So the pandemic hit kind of days before we were about to go on a spring break trip across country to visit my aunt in DC. And the night before we were supposed to leave, we pretty much said, no, you know what? We're staying put. This is not looking good. And after that, that was our spring break, or my son's spring break, the spring break for the schools here. And then after that spring break, everything closed. Like, it never reopened, right? So
yeah.
My son's preschool still hasn't reopened. They're opening in the fall, but they've been closed this whole year. So it was a major shift. And my husband's company also said, you're working from home for the foreseeable future. So we had to go from, as a mom, I was just out and about all day. I was running errands. I was taking the kids to the, park or indoor playgrounds, because we're in Texas and it's way too hot.
Yes, Texas is hot.
loved our indoor playgrounds. We loved, going to the Y. I was out and about every single day with them. And so switching from that to being home to, trying to decide, do I try and homeschool my preschooler who's going to be starting kinder next year? Do I, or do I just let it be? Or, how do I find that balance? And it was a major shift for the kids too. Having dad at home working was kind of,
A good treat.
Yeah, a good treat. Transition.
But
Hard transition to like, we need to leave dad alone while he's on calls and while he's working. So, and then my husband also finding a space where he was comfortable. We have a good sized house, but it was also just like, where can I kind of have some quiet, to be on not nonstop calls all day. So it's definitely been a transition. I'm super happy that we're now kind of getting back into going to the Y a little bit and doing a few things, but it was, I was doing errands all the way to like an hour and a half out of the way just to get into the car and just go somewhere.
Right. I'm going to wash these clothes 30 minutes away.
And I can relate, even though we don't have kids, I could only imagine, like, I've been working remote for the last few months, and I don't care where you find a spot in the house. It's just like, it's still not the same unless your house is just wired for remote working.
Right. Yeah.
And we might have to call a Techie Mamma. I can only get us but so far. But I love how you talked about just your niche, and again, with our podcast, we talk about love, life, and business. And that's a key factor I hope everybody has really gained from us talking with Miss Cousett. Did I get that right? Okay.
Yes.
Go, Brianna. So when we talked with Miss Cousett and we talked to the Techie Mom, you realize that she incorporated both her gift and knowledge of being in tech and merged it with who she is, which is a mom. And I feel like that is a valuable thing we all should take into our business, really understanding like her audience was any mom who needed help with tech. So think about that for your business. What's your area and who are you trying to help? Because she just told us with her brand name, I do tech and I'm a mom. Go girl. So
very lucky thing.
Yes. Hit
very,
it right on the head. Well. Yes. So, and I love the logo too.
Oh, thank you.
Did you make it?
My two boys. What's that?
You made it?
A friend of mine designed it. Designer designed it. Yeah, but it's me with the two boys with their gadgets.
I see. I said, Lord, she balancing the pendulum. So with that all being said, how has this journey of being a techie mom and just a mom in general, a wife, how has all of that made you more resilient?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's helped me be less of a perfectionist. Because I think one thing that we struggle as business owners is that we don't want to publish our website, or we don't want to publish that thing because it's not quite perfect yet, Yeah. And I've really had to let that go because, and as an academic, I had a high, level of quality that I was aiming for too. And so I've really had to let that go, because if I didn't press publish, then it's probably never going to get published because, there's a kid that's having an accident or sick or that.
Right.
Misfortune because I published a page before it was ready, and then that led to some issues. But at the end of the day, I'll own that. I'll say yes. I was looking at your site and I copied the design, and then I never went back and made it my own. But that was life, and I'm sorry about that, but that was life. And if I didn't press publish, then, I would have never gotten it out there. And so I think, maybe I went too far in that situation, and that was a learning experience. But I think really the resilience has come from just being flexible and just taking a chance. And, I have a membership, and my memberships have come about with like, okay, let's do this. And then kind of figuring out how to do it. But for me, that's what's worked, because if not, then it would never get started. And if I can, serve others now with something that will grow and will mature, then great, and I'm happy to do that. So I think that's probably the results.
Yes, and we can definitely see that, understand that. I mean, it's a powerful thing. Like you said, if you never hit publish, it will never get out there.
Yeah. We're waiting for it to be perfect, to be perfectly edited. I realized that with the first course I made, it took me probably a year, I think, to get that course out. And then the second course I did, I think I did in like 2 weeks.
There you go.
Like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just going for it. And that first course, I was super worried about the editing, that there were no, or but, or, kind of fillers and stuff like that. I sent it off to get edited, and I should have just published it. By the time I got it out there, some of the content, also with tech, it changes so quickly that some of the content was already outdated, and I had to re-record.
Yeah.
So I think pushing publish is a really important thing.
And that we could go into a whole nother thing about that, but I like how you illustrate that matching the passion, which is tech, with your lifestyle of being a mom and a wife, and you merge it together, and you come out with this wonderful logo that I can't take my eyes off of.
That it really helps, encourages us, because we're not parents yet, but we recognize that, as you mentioned, your business is your baby. So right now we're nurturing this podcast. We're nurturing my tech business. I'm a little techie, and we're nurturing his business, and that's going to help us in the future. So I really appreciate that too.
That's your first baby.
Literally. And you know what? We really appreciate your time, and we wish we could come down to Texas and say hey to the boys. But go ahead and share with everybody where they can follow you and keep in touch.
For sure. So as you can probably guess, I'm Techie Mamma and just about everything. That's Techie with an IE and then Mama with 2 M's. Have a little bit of a Spanish flair in there, but TechieMamma.com is my main website. And from there, you can check out the memberships and the courses and anything that you need, or just click on the chat and start chatting with me and let me know.
Oh, we're talking directly to you.
On the chat, yes.
Well, we should probably chat.
That matches tech, though.
She takes care of her own back office.
I think it's unique because most times when you deal with tech, I know for my job, when I'm dealing with tech, it's like, who am I going to get this time? So,
but we're getting Techie Mamma.
So just that personalization is just nice.
Yeah, for sure.
So guys, what you want to say?
Oh, I love creating the relationships with people. So at least for the time moment, I don't know if I'll ever grow to more people, but for the time being, it's really important that it's pretty much just me. And I have a VA that helps me out with some things, but for the most part, it's just me. Yeah.
Oh, I might have to hit you up with the VA part because I've heard VAs a lot. I'm like, I may need a VA to help me out. But guys, we have enjoyed you, Miss Cousett. I gotta say it like that, your little flair right there. But we have enjoyed her and her business, Techie Mamma, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of Resilient Love. See you guys next one.
Thank you to all listeners and subscribers. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Leave us a 5-star review on Apple so that we can continue sharing resilient love. Thanks for listening.